Welcome back, y'all. Today we are making elderberry syrup. It is a must-have for our herbal cupboard in the fall and the winter season, even though it's also handy through the rest of the year. If you want to know more about the medicinal uses of elderberries, I'm going to put a link down below in the video notes on our video specifically about elderberries. We are just going to be making the actual elderberry syrup recipe. Alright, it's time to start making our elderberry syrup. So you're going to need a heavy bottom pot. We're going to start by adding dried elderberries into our pot. Along with that, I'm going to add some select herbs. Now these can vary depending on your preference for what you would like in your elderberry syrup. I like to add some immune boosting herbs that just go with immune boosting elderberries to help kick colds to the side. Today I'm going to use some astragalus root, echinacea, golden seal, orange peel, ginger, and a cinnamon stick. I'm using approximately 1/8 of a cup of each of those. You are welcome to subtract or add any herbs that you want. The important part with the elderberry syrup is that we have the elderberries and the water, and then our local honey and our raw vinegar, which we will get to here in a bit. So here I have our herbal selection measured out, including the cinnamon stick. I'm going to add those to our dried elderberries in our pot. And put the cinnamon stick in. Now that all of the herbs are in our pot, I'm going to add approximately 3 cups of water. Alright, we've got our water and we've got our herbs. Now we want to give them a little stir to make sure that they're all covered by the water. I don't have a spoon, but I have a measuring cup, and that'll work. Alrighty, now it's time to turn the heat on. We want to bring it up to boil, and then we're going to turn it down to a simmer. And we're going to simmer our herbs in our water for 30 minutes. I'm going to put the lid on to help bring that to a boil. And also to make sure that our water doesn't totally evaporate while we are simmering our herbs. While that is doing its thing, let's chat a bit about why we're doing this. So essentially we're making a decoction, which is a form of a tea, but there are a lot more herbs and it cooks for a lot longer time. So we're not doing this just for flavor, we're trying to pull out all the constituents out of the plants and really consolidate them in order to get the most health benefits from them. Alrighty, our elderberry mixture has been simmering for half an hour, so now we're going to turn it off and strain it and let it cool before we add our last 2 ingredients. And get all of the berries out of your pot and all the herbs. A spoon or a silicone spatula will work. Once you have everything out of your pot and into your strainer, you want to go ahead and push down on the herbs with the spoon, get as much liquid out as possible, and then you can take your leftover herbs and berries and compost them for your garden. A little tip while I'm doing this, a French press can also do this job with a little less work, but I have quite a few herbs and berries here. It might have been too much for that, but it does get more of the elderberry and herb juice out of the herbs, and then you have less waste. Now that I have everything out of there I want to get out, I'm going to remove my berries from the top, over back to my pot. We have our elderberry and herbal concoction ready to turn into a syrup. But first we're going to let it cool to room temperature. The reason that we want to let it cool is because we're going to add our apple cider vinegar and our raw honey. And both of these are alive. This is a raw apple cider vinegar. It has a lot more nutrients and health benefits to it than a distilled processed one. And our local raw honey is packed full of good nutrients because it has not been filtered and it has all those lovely properties that the bees put in it for us. If we were to put these live foods into our herbal decoction here, it is still too hot. It would kill the beneficial items in these ingredients. And so we're going to wait till it comes down to room temperature. So we will be right back. All right, our elderberry decoction has cooled to room temperature. So now we are going to add our last two ingredients. We're going to first add our 1/3 cup raw apple cider vinegar, and then 1 cup of raw local honey, if local is possible. Raw is very important though. So we're going to add those in and give it a good stir. This liquid is still slightly warm. It's not cold, it's room temperature, maybe slightly above. And that helps the honey to dissolve into our mixture without killing all the good stuff inside of the honey. All right, our elderberry syrup is done and it's ready to use. One of the best ways to store this is with a glass canning jar. A quart jar should do it, with a sealed lid on top and inside of the refrigerator. Make sure to mark the top of your jar so that it says elderberry syrup, and also note which medicinal herbs you added to yours, because I can tell you from experience, you will forget later, and it's good to know what's in there in case there's some reason that someone isn't able to use that particular herb. Another important thing to put on the lid is the date that it was made and also an expiration date. Elderberry syrup should last approximately 1 to 2 weeks in the refrigerator. Just keep an eye on it. It will either turn moldy if it goes bad, or it will smell really alcoholic. But for the most part, it should be pretty good for at least 2 weeks. Alrighty, our elderberry syrup's done. It's put in its container, it's labeled, and it is ready to use. Make sure you hop on over to our private Facebook group and let us know which medicinal herbs you used in your elderberry syrup and how it went for you. Also, if you have any questions, that is a great place to ask them. We will see you in the next lesson. Thanks for joining us on the farm.